An OLA e-scooter, the S1 Pro, going up in flames in Pune with luckily no one injured, has brought safety back to the forefront, a discussion around it. The founder CEO Bhavesh Agarwal took to Twitter to announce an investigation will be carried out. EVs are hot. They do sometimes burn up. In fact, 65 Teslas have burnt up. So if it can happen to Tesla, it can happen to other EVs, right? That's considered to be the most sophisticated EV on the planet. We're going to be taking this conversation forward with our guest now. Joining us is Vivek, the co-founder and CEO of Bounce. We're getting Bounce because Bounce is also going to be competing with Ola. It's getting ready to deliver its own e-scooters. And in fact, the Bounce scooter offers an option of decoupling the battery to bring down the price. We're also being joined by Chetan Maini, the co-founder and vice chairman of Sun Mobility. They understand EVs also so well. Gentlemen, welcome to the market. Vivek, I'll come to you first. You're getting ready for deliveries. A lot has been said in recent times that, the scooter going up in flames, is it a one-off? Is it an aberration? Is there a problem with the battery? Can heat really make batteries go up in flames? The summer's not even here. We are only in March. At the same time, a scramble to get your product out on the roads as fast as possible because there's just so much capital that is riding on it. It's got time we need to talk about safety. How can you say that whether it is Bounce or others are doing the best that is necessary to ensure the consumer is safe, the bike is safe?
Right. So, Nayantara, thanks. I want to just correct the statement that you made some time back saying that Teslas have gone on fire. So is it normal for electric vehicles to go on fire? Teslas are very high-powered vehicles, and the amount of energy it needs and the amount of power it draws is very different as compared to two-wheelers.
I didn't say. No.
Okay.
Vivek, I didn't say it's normal. What I was trying to say is it has happened in the past. It's not only happened to Ola, it's also happened to Tesla, 65 Teslas.
Yes. So a big difference there, Nayantara, is that the size of the vehicle, right? The amount of power it draws plays a very different role, one. Second, I'll talk more about what we are doing and what gives us confidence on the scooters that we are deploying, the batteries that we have, etc. So we are dealing with batteries from 2019. Our Bounce electric scooters run on the batteries that we have been using from 2019. We've done over 1 million swaps, and which means that we have real road experience. And we are talking about doing over 1 million swaps, which is like close to about 45 to 50 million kilometers of batteries being run, and across varied climate conditions, including Vijayawada, which sees like record temperatures of 40 plus. And our batteries have survived that, and we have not seen any incidents. To give you a quick understanding about what these batteries are and why the fire might happen, etc. I think the first and foremost important thing is the cells that you procure. The cells have to be of good quality. You can't buy some cheap Chinese cells, one. I'm not saying that Ola is doing this. So just to clarify, I'm just talking about battery in particular and what can make batteries vulnerable. This is one. The cells play a very important role. The second is the way the cells are packed. The third is all about thermal management. Forget about the outside temperature. Inside temperatures are very different. The way the cells are cooled, the way cells are charged basically plays a very important role. And all of this happens through battery management systems which are there, which tells when to charge, what power to charge, and when not to charge. Apart from also deciding how much power to draw and when to draw. And there is also a very important part around how do you cool them? Is it air cooled? Does the battery have its own cooling system, etc. All of that, right? So I think it's not just one thing. There are multiple things which goes into making sure that batteries are safe. Starting from cells, the way they are packed, the way thermal management is done there. Also, very important pieces are how do you charge them? Fast charging can heat up cells and make them vulnerable. Fortunately for us in battery swapping, we charge them at under 0.5 C, which keeps cells pretty safe. And also the size of the vehicle on how it draws power. And there's a last piece around chargers. Chargers should be smart enough to talk to the BMS and say when to stop giving energy to it and the way it is charged. So there are a bunch of things. And for us, fortunately, we have been doing it day in, day out. We do over 3,000 swaps a day, which is close to about 200,000 plus kilometers on the road. Which gives us good confidence saying that this is the same batteries which go on Bounce Infinity, and they're being tested well, and we should be able to deliver to them consumers without worrying on what's going to happen. So there are no question marks for us. and we will continue to learn more and make it better. But we are very confident of the batteries which we are throwing out there. To in short, yes, safety comes at most. At most, we can't scare people from electric scooters. So if the vehicles are not safe, you should not be deploying them.
Of course, that should be a no-brainer. And with that, I'd like to come to you now, Chetan. There is a conversation that has been happening, right? That is there a rush to get products out on the road simply because so much capital has been raised, there's so much that weight there, there's pressure from investors, pressure from shareholders, all of that. So, Chetan, is it time also that India have subscribed norms when it comes to battery safety, or is that a road we shouldn't go down because there is so much innovation that is taking place?
There are some very good policies in the country. We had AS 038 and now an AS 156, which honestly are probably world-class in some of the areas. It includes things like the earlier versions were including things like putting a nail through the cells, and the newer versions were in fact subjecting batteries to even a flame, right? So I think that at a policy level, there's a good direction on this area. But it's beyond that, right? Because policy tests one battery or a certification tests one battery, but you could have poor quality cells, you could have defective cells, you could have a poor thermal management system, there could be assembly manufacturing issues, there could be inadequate battery management control systems, there could be poor management of charging management systems, amongst others that could cause these issues on this area. So while there is a test related to a one-time requirement, it's going to put in a lot of things for the manufacturers to start to up their game on this area, to control everything from the beginning part of the cell to the pack, and an ongoing process where even the manufacturing is done at very high levels. All of that is hard to test within a regulatory framework, right? You test one vehicle, one pack or 5 packs or something like that. And so there's going to be a lot more responsibility where companies in India have to up their game. But I do believe that the regulatory framework is very good today in the country.
I think, Vivek, part of the solution could also be what you guys are specifically doing, right? Wherein you enable consumers to have a sort of app-based health dashboard of their battery, which gives you a complete status check on what's going wrong and what's going right.
Yeah. So, Nayantara, today batteries are viewed as black box. So I think actually batteries are very smart. They can say a lot of things, including the inside temperature of the battery. It can give various parameters real time, right? These batteries are connected with communication, as in it has a 4G SIM card there. So it can talk to cloud real time, and we can convert this data in a way that consumers can understand and know what's happening inside the battery. So one of the things that we are doing to Bounce Infinity customers is give them a very simple dashboard, which tells them what are they doing right, what are they not doing right, and what is the inside health of the battery, apart from telling them the range of the battery, the overall life of the battery, etc. Also, tell them on what's happening inside the battery, and also talk about good practices, which will play a very important role according to me. And also, we think that a lot of work has to be done at the company side and not expect too much of work from the consumer, because consumers should get the same kind of experience as he used to get on a fuel scooter. He should not be bothered much on what kind of fuel is he buying, what is he doing, etc. So I think a lot of responsibility lies at the manufacturer/OEM level, like Chetan mentioned. But these kind of dashboards and everything will build confidence in the long run to the consumer, so that he is just generally not scared, but because of these kind of events, and he knows what's happening inside his battery.
Okay, so that's the dashboard, which should come in handy. But Chetan, a lot has been said in the last few days that it is not heat necessary that can blow up a battery, that you need to figure out the reason for the short circuit. Can you tell our viewers more about this?
So we just talked about that, thermal issues could be poor cell quality, defective cells, poor thermal management, assembly issues, battery management, charging issues. So, what we've been doing, and since we've been working on lithium-ion technology for the last 17 years, it starts with, stringent selections of the cell, the chemistry, the manufacturer. And then a host of tests like overcharge, short circuit, high temperature, nail penetration, crush, vibration testing. This makes sure that the cell chemistry by itself is very good. The next is, of course, how do you design the battery pack to ensure there is mechanical integrity and thermal management. Thermal management is probably the key part today, which is lacking in most batteries, because it's very difficult to cool a battery in a vehicle itself on this area, right? And this is coupled with advanced battery management systems, and then you got to go through a pack level testing on this area. And finally, at the end of the assembly line, you got to really stress the batteries before they come out, and because that could also show you the defects. So this would help catch the defects. But the most important part is the climate side of it. And our summer temperatures hit 45, and you rightly said we're going to come there slowly. And if a battery is in a vehicle and then you drive it, then the temperature rises by another 5 to 10 degrees when you drive. And then if you charge it in those conditions, you'll have further increases. And most lithium-ion battery chemistries, especially NMC, that's widely used in the two-wheeler spaces in India, don't like to be above 50 degrees Celsius. So with the absence of a thermal management system in a vehicle and subjected to high temperatures and charging, especially in sunny conditions, this can lead to very high temperatures in the battery that could trigger and alleviate some of these concerns. So this becomes a challenge, which of course, when you think of areas like battery swapping, addresses it because both the charging is not happening in the vehicle, and while the charging is happening, the batteries are cooled down in a station, at least in the stations we have, and so therefore you don't have the issue of thermal or you don't have charging. But it's a complex problem. But the heat, a big portion of it is going to be around thermal management and advanced algorithms in the battery management system.
So let's see how all of this progresses. There is an investigation that is going to be carried out. Let's see if the government also swings into action. The last example I remember, where we did see a lot that was being discussed was the Tata Nano, where at least 2 cars had gone up in flames. Thanks a lot, gentlemen, for joining us live today on The Market. It is certainly a hot topic with EVs, being the future. Safety can never, ever be compromised.